Awesome. Welcome. So today we are going to discuss client updates in Command. NAR tells us that about 78% of clients want to be kept in the loop and know what is going on with their transaction, and they want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, which is you, the real estate agent. So we are going to go ahead and log into Command, and to do that, we're going to go to agent.kw.com, agent.kw.com. We're going to go ahead and log in with our Keller Williams credentials. And once we get in here, if you guys have not yet taken the chance to set up your checklist, that is your first step. So we're going to click on our handshake, which is our opportunity. Again, we're clicking on our handshake over here. And don't forget, if you forget what these icons mean, you can always hit the white KW on the red background, pop that out, and see what all of your applets are called. So does anybody have any questions about getting to this point, getting into Command and getting to our opportunities? Everybody feeling good? Awesome. Okay. So once we are in our opportunities, we can click on any of these phases. Okay. So the green pipeline is our seller, orange pipeline is our buyer, and we're going to click on active and listing. And once we are here, you're going to see in the upper right-hand corner this edit stages button. And so once we pop into that, does anybody have any questions how we got to where we are now? Everybody feeling good? Good, good. Okay. So we've gone to opportunities, we've gone into one of our phases, and we have now clicked on edit stages, and it's brought us to this window here. So you can add or take away as many stages as you want within each phase of your opportunity. Again, you can add as many or take away as many stages as you want within each phase of your opportunity. The phases are unchanging: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed, right? But within each one of those, we can set up stages. So does anybody have any questions on that? Good. All right. So each one of these stages has its own checklist. So you can see 0 of 15, 0 of 7, 0 of 5, 0 of 14, all right here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my staging checklist. And so you can see, call or text, let them know that the photographer is coming, the sign got placed in the house, home warranty, right? These are all the things that we need to check off as a real estate agent. And I have added these in myself. I do have this handy dandy checklist that was made in Google Sheets. And if you guys would like to have a copy of it, I am happy to share this with you. So this was George Kelly's checklist. And I have gone through and edited out most of it to fit into the North Carolina market, including due diligence and some of the other things that are important to us as brokers here in North Carolina. So the green one is the listing. You can see it at the bottom. There's 2 toggles, and the orange is the buyers, just like in Command. So that is the way that I set this up for you guys. And all you have to do, all you have to do to add, I would like to have this. Great. I'm happy to share that, Janet. I'm going to go ahead and click share. And I know that Janet sees how to get into the chat. And if anybody else does not know how to get into the chat, please let me know. I'm going to drop this link into the chat, and you can click on that and open up that Google Doc. And so once you get your copy opened on your computer, if you would just click up on the file button in the upper left corner and click make a copy. And that way you will be able to edit this to your liking and to your business. I know that we have people in here from different levels of business that have been in the business for a year up to 20 years. So if you have your own checklist set up, feel free to add your own things in here, right? So just make a copy and that is fully editable to your liking. So then in order to add things to your checklist, you just come down to the bottom of the list that's already there that you created and click add item. You can come right back here and copy something. I'm just going to grab something. So I can copy this and then move back to command and I can paste it right there and then click save. If I decide I don't want it, I can hover over the top and click delete. Yes, delete, and it's gone. I can reorder my checklist if I think something needs to be in a different place. Does anybody have any questions about adding things to your checklist before we go forward any further? Adding stuff to our checklist. So just remember, each opportunity phase, like I'll click on cultivate for listings, then you come into the upper right and click edit stages. And then you can add or take away the stages that you want to have. And then you have a checklist for each one of your stages. Open it up, add item, and you can add the items to your checklist. All right, cool deal. So you have to have your checklist in place at first to be able to edit your client updates. So that being said, I'm now going to click on this gear icon. So right where it says client updates, I'm going to click on this little gear. This is just going to take us back into the back end of our settings in Command. It's going to take us directly to the client update settings. You can also get here the traditional way, drop down, go to settings, right? So you can do it that way as well. If you're on a team, you will have opportunity client update settings for your team as well as yourself as the individual, depending on which place you do your opportunities, okay? And so here is where we can choose what time do I want my client's opportunity updates to go out, my client updates. So if your business day ends at 6, then you can change this to 6 p.m. so that you make sure that everything you got done in conjunction with this property that day gets emailed to your client at the end of the day. So you can change out the time that the client update goes out. You can also decide if you're on a team. Right now I'm under my individual pipeline, so it can only come from me. But if I was on my team pipeline, I could choose to make it come from the owner of the opportunity or a rainmaker on the team. So that depends on your team structure, how you want that to look, right? So owner means the owner of the opportunity, not the owner of the property. And then the send to field, do you want it to go to your client and co-client, or do you only want it to go to the primary co-client? And then you can also copy, this is team view, the assignee of the opportunity, the owner of the opportunity, right? So that'll send to any assignee on the opportunity. If you're on the individual agent side, then you can only send it to yourself, the owner of the opportunity. So does anybody have any questions on the settings portion? Good. We can also click preview from here to see what these emails look like. So you can see it will have your logo from your company, your data up here in the upper right, and it will say client name. We're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of the task completed for whatever the address is. If it is your listing and you have it connected, it will show the hero image of the listing. Checklist item 1, 2, 3 were checked off today. Buyer side at every step, your name and your data, right? So that's what the email will look like. If it is your buyer, there will not be a picture there, only for your listings, okay? So that being said, I'm going to make my way back into opportunities and we're going to talk a little bit of best practices. So you can see at the top of these checklists that I just shared with you, the CU stands for client updates. And when client updates are turned on, please make sure that your task description is a seller-facing verbiage, right? So in other words, on my active status, I'm going to go up into edit stages. So say that, let me find photographs complete, short, simple, to the point for me, right? The photographs are done, check. I don't want my client to see that. So you have two options. You can edit it and say, your photographs have been taken and will be received in 24 hours. So client-facing verbiage, right? So you can either have a checklist for yourself and the client update underneath it. So if I just want to say add item, photos done, right, for myself, and I can move this up here. So for myself, yes, the photos are done, and for my client, your photographs have been taken and will be received in 24 hours, because that's what they're going to see when they get that email. And I will show you what the email actually looks like. Bear with me for 1 second. And I will get into my client's email account. And pull it back onto the screen. Here we go. Okay, so updates for 490 Archer Road came into Mr. Dakota Perry. And this is what his looks like. So this was for a listing, right? We're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks completed for your listing. There's the front picture. We received the due diligence fee, and the earnest money was deposited with the closing attorney, right? And so that's what it will look like. So you can see why the verbiage needs to be client facing. Does that make sense to everybody? Do we have any questions on that? You just don't want it to go out and say, hey, the disclosures are uploaded in the MLS. So anyway, the things that you want your client to know, you want to add them in, and then you're going to check this little client update box over here on the right. And so what that means is this checklist is getting set up for all of your opportunities, right? For every opportunity that hits that active staging phase and stage, this checklist will apply. Okay, so that's how you set it up. Now let's move into an actual opportunity. In order for it to fire off these things, you want to make sure that your client updates are turned on for this opportunity. Okay, let me move into one that's turned off so you guys can see that. So this one, for example, is turned off. So I can come in here and I can click client updates and I can turn them on. Okay. And if I wanted, say that every day I did send one out at 6, but maybe this client works second shift or something, right? And they'll be at work. So then it's not going to do them very much good to get the email then. They would rather get it at 11 o'clock. I can change this individual opportunity to receive them at 11, right? So you have the one that you set up in the settings, that's going to be for all. And then you can change each individual opportunity if there's special circumstances for that specific deal. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about what I've shown you so far? So now if I save the changes, you can see my client updates for this opportunity have been turned on. Okay. So now, in order for these emails to go out, you have to check off the things on the checklist. So the checklist up here in the upper right corner here is showing me that I have completed 3 out of the 12 things that I need to complete for this listing in this phase and stage, right? So maybe I went ahead and took the front photo, but see, none of these things have client updates, right? Because they don't need to know that I ordered their yard sign, right? But then once I move them into a more seller facing thing, like under contract, when I look at this checklist, maybe I do want them to know these things were done today. In order for that to happen, I have to check off that all of those things were done. And if you guys haven't ever logged into Command on your phone, I know that Command Mobile is coming. And for right now, if you go on your phone just to your internet, whatever you use, Safari, Google Chrome, whatever you use on your phone, you can actually navigate yourself to agent.kw.com. I created a shortcut to mine, so I will show you, make sure you can see it. And every phone has this capability to set up a little icon on your home screen from your website. So I can just click on that like I would any other app, and it takes me straight to Command to log in. And checklists are one of those things that show up pretty well in mobile. So I know that y'all aren't just like sitting at your desks all day, but if something gets done while you're on the road, you can log in to Command on your phone, go to opportunities, open the appropriate opportunity, and make your way into the checklist for that specific opportunity so that you can check things off from your phone. Or you can just, do it yourself when you get back to your computer, whichever way you feel comfortable. But nonetheless, after I've checked these things off, that means at 6 o'clock today, that seller is going to get an email that says, hey, Mr. Seller, we're checking things off the list. We did A, B, C today, right? And so in order to use the client updates, we, number one, have to have our checklist set up. And I did share the link. If anybody, did anybody miss the link in the chat? Or did everybody get it? Good. So we have to have our checklist set up. And then we actually have to check the things off the list as we get them done. And that way our client opportunities will go out, or our client updates will go out. And I will tell you, the people that have used these, they love it. It is one of the most underutilized pieces of Command. And we all get bogged down in the minutia of the day, right? We're all guilty of it. And our clients want to be kept in the loop. And this is just another layer that you can add to that, right? Another touch point to make their experience feel like that Disney experience that we want all of our clients to have. So the setup on the front end, just remember, once you set it up for all, then every time that you have an opportunity, I'm going to pick this one up, for example, and say this multiple offer on Archer Road. I did. This is already done. I'm going to hit close. And now we're going to move into pending, out of due diligence, right? I can drop it. And now my new checklist will come into play, right? My new checklist for the pending section of my listings will come into play. And then when I move them over into clear to close, same thing. I'll get my new checklist for clear to close. So it's a great habit to get in. I will tell you, notoriously, I was terrible at dropping the ball on a handful of things in my real estate transactions. Ordering seller documents to get done with the closing attorney, I was so bad. I always forgot. And then I always had to call the paralegal and be like, I'm so sorry, I forgot to call you, and get them to do it, right? So if you're checking yourself behind your own self, then you won't run into those situations like me. So learn from my mistakes and make your life a little bit easier. So there you go. You can see all these different things are in there. And you just check them off and say that you did them. You can do it right here from your view here, or you can open this up. If you're actually in here working and adding documents or something, then your checklist moves into the upper right corner and you can open it up from there and check things off. So, does anybody have any questions? Will this recording be on my site later? Yes, yes, it will be. Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions about what I showed you guys? This is not a super long class, right? But I hope it's really impactful for you, because really, I mean, it makes clients feel special when you keep them in the loop. And this is an easy way to do it while you're simultaneously checking behind yourself to make sure that you don't forget something.
So Monica, I have to say, I'm loving this concept because it reminds me of a different platform that we would have to pay at least $400 a month for to have this.
Doesn't it? Eva?
Yeah, yeah. And I like saving $400 a month.
Yes, as we all do. It definitely does liken itself to that program, which we will not mention. Yeah, so I mean, people came up with a whole system just to do this piece of what Command does. And this is just one piece of a piece of Command, right? So I know Command is a big system, but it's a big system intentionally, because any of us that have been in the business for a long time, we've had lots of different systems running at the same time and none of them speak. So you have to put everything in the spreadsheet and then you got to move it from this spreadsheet and pull it into this program and into that program. And it's all over the place. And this way it's all encompassing, but it does make it kind of a big program to learn all the bells and whistles. But I hope that you guys think this is a cool one. Like I said, the checklist is there. This is George Kelly. If you haven't seen any of George Kelly's videos and places that he's spoken before, he is super impressive. And this was his. And I mean, all I did was kind of North Carolina it out because, you know, there was stuff like escrows and stuff like that that we don't really handle, and we don't hold earnest money. So I tried to change out as much as that of that as I could, and add in a bunch of stuff about due diligence and things like that. So that link is in the chat, and the recording will go onto YouTube this afternoon, and it will be on my channel. And if you guys do not know how to get to my channel, you go to kwtriadtech.com. And once you get here, my internet will catch up with us. There we go. Then you can click on right here, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it takes you straight there to not only see my videos, but also the people that I love to learn from are listed right below my videos. So you can learn from them as well. So does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns regarding client updates in Command? Do you guys think it's valuable?
Immensely.
Good. All right, I'm going to ask for 2 ahas, and then I will shut down the recording and let you guys go. So somebody tell me something you learned today. I'll call on you if I have to.
That we have the capability to do this.
Good. One
And
more.
so-
That's what I was trying to say, that it's there.
So I actually, Monica, do, but having said, I have a list like this, but I have it as a hard copy and I just check it off. If, you know, I put it on my folder on the left side and I just check it off. But that's because I've been doing this for so long. So this is helpful just because it's all right here, you know,
Yeah,
in one site.
absolutely. I too had paper checklists that I attached to my folders on top of my paper folder, and I checked things off on the way. And you know, Monica, I don't get rid of anything. And I was actually, when I was working on it, I needed to pull up this checklist that I shared with you guys, and I searched checklist, and I came across that old checklist, and I was like, huh, look at how far I've come.
But this lets you, share it with your clients. So that's really nice.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really a great benefit of it, right? And the fact that, if you lose it, if you drop it in a puddle, see, there's my old checklist right there. I used to print these out and have them stapled to the top of my manila file folder. And
That's
that's me.
me.
Check stuff off. But
I may or may not have a stack of these same transaction checklists, one for buyer, one for seller. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I get it, and there's nothing wrong with keeping a paper checklist. I just like to show you guys your options. And the added bonus here is that you don't have to remember at the end of the day to go email however many clients you're currently working with and saying, these are the things that got done with your property today, right? If you check them off, they get the email, which is super cool. Plus we save $400 a month by not using that other company that offers this exact same thing, right?
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you.
You're so welcome, ladies. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.